You start chanting Namum Myoho Renge Kyo, hoping for peace, for clarity, maybe for a breakthrough. But instead, you feel angry, or you feel this wave of sadness wash over you, or you feel even more anxious than you did before you sat down. And the immediate thought that pops into your head is, I must be doing this wrong. This isn't working for me. But what if I told you that feeling worse is actually one of the most powerful signs that your practice is working exactly as it should be? This isn't just a nice idea to make you feel better. It's a core principle in Nichiren Buddhism that explains why this difficult phase is not only necessary, but is actual proof that you are fundamentally changing your life's karma. This is a game changer for how you see your practice. So let's break this down. In this video, we'll use the simple house cleaning analogy to demystify this entire process. We'll explore the profound principle of changing poison into medicine, and I'll give you 3 actionable things you can do to navigate this phase with total confidence. First, let's reframe what's happening with an analogy that makes it all crystal clear: the deep cleaning of a very, very dirty house. Imagine a house you haven't truly, deeply cleaned in years. On the surface, things look fine. You've dusted, you've vacuumed, you've kept it tidy enough for guests. But the moment you decide to do a real deep clean, what happens? You start moving the furniture, you pull up the rugs, you open those closets that have been jammed shut for a decade. Suddenly, dust is flying everywhere. The air gets thick. You uncover stains you never even knew existed. The entire house looks and frankly feels much worse than it did before you started cleaning. I know, I've had that moment where I think, oh man, maybe I should have just left it alone. Therefore, you have to realize the mess isn't new. It was always there, hidden in the dark, under the surface. Your courageous decision to clean is what brought it all into the light so that it could finally be dealt with and removed for good. This is precisely what happens when we chant. Our chanting is the act of turning on the brightest lights and moving the heaviest furniture in the house of our lives. That anger, that sadness, that frustration that bubbles up to the surface, it isn't new. It's the karmic dust that was always there, affecting you from the shadows. Your practice is just revealing it so you can finally purify it. Here's the key takeaway. You are not creating new problems. You are finally solving old ones. Okay, so you're stirring up old dust, but how does that actually help you? How does feeling that old pain lead to a breakthrough? This brings us to one of the most hopeful and profound principles in all of Buddhism. In Japanese, it's called Henyaku Iyaku. This translates to a concept that can change everything, changing poison into medicine. Most of us think that we need to get rid of our problems, our poisons, in order to finally be happy. We think, if I could just get rid of this anxiety, then I'd be at peace. But this principle teaches the exact opposite. It says the poison itself contains the essential ingredients for the medicine. Therefore, through the power of your chanting, the very suffering that is tormenting you, the difficult relationship, the financial anxiety, the deep-seated anger from your past, that very thing becomes the raw material for your greatest wisdom, your deepest compassion, and your unshakable happiness. A painful conflict with a person becomes the medicine to develop true empathy and understanding for others. A devastating career failure becomes the medicine you use to build incredible resilience and discover your true mission in life. This means the difficult emotions you feel during chanting are not a roadblock. They are the fuel. They are the ingredients. Your practice is taking the very thing that hurts you most and using it as the primary component for your enlightenment. It is absolutely 100% working. Now, I know this is a profound principle, but it can feel a little theoretical when you're in the middle of a chanting session and just feeling awful. So, what do you actually do in that moment? Let's get tactical with 3 simple steps. First, chant about it, not over it. The goal is not to suppress the feeling or grit your teeth and force yourself to feel peaceful. Honestly, that's a spiritual battle you just can't win, and it leads to burnout. Instead, acknowledge the feeling directly, turn towards it. Chant with the clear determination, I am going to transform this anger into creative energy, or I will use this deep sadness to develop the compassion to help others. You face the emotion head on in your prayer. This simple shift turns the emotion from an obstacle to your practice into the very subject of your practice. Step 2, shorten the session, but whatever you do, don't skip it. When you're in this phase of deep cleaning, consistency is far more important than duration. If chanting for an hour feels completely impossible, chant for 10 minutes. If that's too much, chant for 5. Even 1 minute of chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo with the determination not to be defeated is a monumental victory. The simple act of sitting down and refusing to be beaten by your inner state builds the spiritual muscle of perseverance. It proves to your own life that your determination is stronger than any temporary negative emotion. And finally, step 3, seek encouragement and connect with others. It is so critical to remember you are not alone in this. I promise you, every single person who has practiced for any length of time has gone through this exact struggle. It's a feature, not a bug. So talk to a trusted fellow practitioner who has more experience. Read a published experience from someone who broke through a problem similar to yours. Remind yourself that this is a shared, normal, and ultimately positive part of the journey. And of course, if you want to read more about Daimoku and its challenges, we have some resources and experiences on our blog, which I'll link for you right in the description below. Connecting with the stories of others breaks the illusion that this is some kind of personal failure, and it renews your faith by showing you that this difficult path absolutely leads to victory. So, if you are chanting and feeling worse, I want you to remember these 3 things. First, remember the house cleaning analogy. You're not making a new mess. You are finally, bravely cleaning up an old one. Second, remember the principle of changing poison into medicine. Your greatest struggles are the very fuel for your greatest growth. And finally, remember that this phase is not a sign of failure. It is a good sign. It is progress. Watch the next video you see left on your screen.